Hey guys, so today you and I are going to talk about CS graduates. So let's get into it. So the question in question was a little bit of a story. Hi Frederick, I got a question for you. I did a 3-year vocational degree in software engineering. I noticed all of my friends who studied computer science in university, all CS computer science grads I work with or come across on LinkedIn are doing their best not to become or stay developers. I briefly worked at IBM, and the computer science PhD mentor who onboarded the 40 or so new people boasted that he had never touched code in his professional life, which seems to make my CS grad colleagues who were fresh out of the uni very pleased. And whenever they talk about programming, they speak of it as in the most patronizing and belittling way. Even hard problems are solved with quote-unquote a little bit of coding in their minds. Front-end work is quote-unquote for code monkeys and quote-unquote gets boring after a year. And they try to not talk about actual code and seem to always want to talk about the macro perspective using buzzwords. Not sure if you can answer it. What may be the reason that a lot of German computer science graduates look down on programmers and want to become product owners, managers, and architects instead? Well, it's usually the same phenomenon that you see the people who are, well, I suppose the term is poser. That's what they apply. So your friends or your coworkers are more. It's likely that what they want from life or from this thing has nothing to do with the thing that we value within the field. They just want the admiration and the perks, if that makes sense. It's similar to how teenagers want to be famous. They don't want to do something. They don't want to accomplish something. That's secondary. The important part is the fame and the admiration and the followers and things like that. And you most likely are dealing with people who have a very similar mindset. So for them, the coding and all of that stuff, that's not the point of what they're doing. The point is personal gain, personal respect, like climbing the ladder, etc., etc. And it's no different here from in practically any other industry. I mean, you will find the same thing in people. Some people become doctors, some people become lawyers, some people become sales reps, like etc., etc. There are people who are usually more concerned with their own career progression, or like their own. It's not even necessarily career progression, it is their own personal success rather than anything else. And so this way of looking down at things has more to do, as I would say, with that they are imitating a value system that they believe a person or like the sort of individual that you have, like that's how they look. Another thing you can consider is like, imagine like the die-hard business people who sort of who basically look down upon the poor as just not working hard enough or just not doing well, or like they justify in their head that these people are just lazy or bad or some way. They do the exact same thing where they reduce down the complexities of what's going on to something that to them can allow them to dehumanize the other group and make them feel superior, which is what's happening here basically. And the person who you like, the senior you're talking about, or the PhD person who has never touched code in his professional life, the likely scenario here, the reason why he has this why he's most likely in that position is because, as I said, he has taken an education in order to get into IT, to do something other than coding. And I have old classmates that did exactly the same thing. they became Scrum Masters, or rather they learned how to program just so they could say that they had coded, so that they could become Scrum Masters and managers and so forth and so forth. And this sort of is what I argue. Like, usually this only works if you're dealing with, well, if you're dealing with a fairly outdated work environment, where, as I like to say, where, because this is still the case. I mean, most of the world has moved away from the monarchy, but we still have this unjustified respect for a person's role instead of the contributions that they have made, like the value of what they're doing. Quite a lot of people, guys, are living a life where, or hold positions within everything from government to industry to etc., where the value of what they are producing is not really, it's nothing special. It's nothing like they're doing something that is unique. They are not uniquely in any way, or like even on average qualified to do this job, but they have the role, and it is the role. It's similar to, you know, clothing. It's the brand. It's the smoke and mirrors, all the fluff around and the prestige that is valued. So a classic one, you'll see this quite if you do interviews with people like that, usually, where they will come in with like titles upon titles, and they have all these fancy things on their CV, and they claim high and low, like that they've done all these different things. And I mean, this does work. It's the foundation in quite a lot of middle management and higher level politics and business and so forth. But when the company knows how to hire someone of quality, someone who actually knows what they're doing. I'm not saying that this person doesn't know what they're doing, because, I mean, just because they have this idea towards programming doesn't necessarily mean that they're bad at whatever they're actually doing. It's usually fairly easy for someone with a bit of experience to hear like the buzzwords and like the poor attitude and so forth. And if the company has a decently working hiring process, it's going to be very difficult for the person to actually find work in that company. But enough of the industry, I promise you, doesn't really have this. So it's not going to be it's not necessarily going to be something that they ever feel any type of impact from. So what I want you to take away from this is that usually when you're dealing with people who are patronizing and dismissing and sort of reduce down something that is extremely complicated to something that, well, to what they believe is reality or so forth, it's usually the fact that they have a superiority complex of some sort. And I mean, people do this to absolutely everything, guys. Absolutely everything. They reduce down things that are very, very complicated to something very, very simple, so that they can feel superior. And these CS graduates that you're talking about, they're most likely just imitating, as I said, a value system. They're trying to be TikTok famous. They're trying to be a successful business person. And they're starting by acting the way that they emotionally think, or like that they think people with their it's unjustified confidence, if that makes sense. And this is super common. Like, it's nothing weird. And the thing that you really have to remember here, guys, is that not everybody that you talk to who goes through a computer science degree or like becomes a software developer, that they care about coding. That's not their goal. Their goal is to become something higher, like go higher than that. And they have no real love for the craft or no respect for the programming itself. It's just a stepping stool, or like a pig in the ladder. And this happens in every industry. So the thing that you really, I would suggest, should reflect a little bit on is, why does this matter to you? Because we need product managers, we need managers and architects and so forth. And if these people are really good at what they do, it's very unlikely that, or it's very likely that they're going to find work. But if they have a shitty attitude and like they're not really good at what they do, then like just let them dig their own grave, and you focus on you. Have a great day.